hate you! Do what you want. Take my business. Take everything I own. I don't care, because I'm through!
Now that's a familiar face. Barbara Streisand and Ryan O'Neal fighting it out in the main event, one of 5 big new summer movies we're going to be reviewing on Sneak Previews. 2 film critics, especially on this show, arguing about the latest movies in town. This is Roger Ebert, film critic of the Chicago Sun-Times.
Across the aisle for me is Gene Siskel, the film critic of the Chicago Tribune. In addition to the main event, which didn't exactly knock me out.
I liked it.
You like? We'll get to that in a moment, okay? We'll also review The In-Laws, a very funny new comedy with Alan Arkin and Peter Falk. Lost and Found, a bittersweet love story starring sweet George Segal and bitter Glenda Jackson. Escape from Alcatraz, the new Clint Eastwood thriller. And now Gene starts with Rocky II.
I think I'm speaking for both of us. Sequels and remakes are the bane of a film critic's existence.
I'll go along with that.
We want originality in the movies, but increasingly, Hollywood has given us the same boring old thing, Part 2. A thoroughly enjoyable exception to this epidemic of rotten sequels, though, is Rocky II. It may be a sequel, but it's not boring. Rocky II describes the further adventures of Rocky Balboa, the Philadelphia club fighter who, come on, if you don't know what Rocky's story is, what are you doing watching this show? In the new film, Rocky is still in love with his formerly shy girlfriend, Adrian, played by Talia Shire. In fact, early in Rocky II, he hits her with the big question in pure Rocky style.
What are we doing here at the zoo?
Well, you know, I kind of like the zoo a lot. You know, it's a special place, especially when it snows. You know, it kind of smells clean and everything like that, you know? Don't you like the zoo? Huh?
I like the zoo.
Yeah, me too. You know, I was wondering, like, what do you think you're doing for, like, the next 40 or 50 years?
What do you mean?
I was wondering if you wouldn't mind marrying me very much.
What'd you say?
If you wouldn't mind marrying me too much.
Yes. I'd like to marry you.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
I'll be a good guy, I promise. I ain't gonna do nothing wrong. I ain't gonna leave no hair in the sink or nothing like that, you know? Oh, things are gonna be great, you know that? Hey, we're getting married, you know? You wanna come? You can get out for the weekend. I'll send you an invitation, Mr. Tiger. That's fantastic, it is? Oh!
A beautiful scene, a great scene. Some very funny and tender writing there. Sylvester Stallone wrote both Rocky and Rocky II. He's an excellent writer with a fine offbeat sense of humor. Just because he looks like a palooka doesn't mean he can't write. Now, in the middle of Rocky II, fight manager Burgess Meredith has to be convinced that Rocky is able to withstand a rematch with the champion, Apollo Creed.
Well, now, did you come here to show me that dog?
No. But can I have my laptop back?
Here, what's on your mind?
Fight.
Fight? What? You want to go blind?
Nobody's going blind.
Now, you heard what I said?
Yeah, the eye's great, no problem.
Now, listen, every pug thinks he has one good one left. Now, forget it, because your fighting career is over, kid.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
You know, I spent my whole life getting a career. I get one, and you tell me it's over.
What's the matter? You shook the hell out of the champion of the whole wide world. You'd be happy with that.
Well, maybe we can do better this time.
Or worse. What about that?
Hey, yo, Mick. I done you a favor last time, you know. Can you do me one this time?
I don't know. You don't understand me. Now, look, I want to show you something now. Test it. Right. Now, look, you look right there at the end of my nose, will you?
Okay.
I want to test you.
Look at your nose.
You look at my nose. Now, when I bring my finger in, you tell me when you see it, will you?
There's the little thing, I see it.
That's good.
I told you, it's okay.
Now, wait. We try the other lamp. Now, look here, will you? Now, tell me.
I see it.
Now you see nothing.
That doesn't stop Rocky. Eventually, it's fight time once again with Apollo Creed. The ref gives instructions.
Okay, boys. I'm going to give you the instructions now, and I expect you to follow them. Watch the low punches and watch the kidney punches. Watch the rabbit punches. In case of a knockdown, you go to the corner I tell you to and stay there until I tell you to come out. Understand? Okay, boys, let's have a good fight.
He's going down.
And they do have a good fight. I really enjoyed Rocky II. I'm even looking forward to Rocky III. Rocky Balboa is a very colorful, very funny, thoroughly American character.
I think you make a very good distinction between what we, I think, both feel about remakes and sequels, which is it's a rip-off, another chance to go back to the public, get another $4, and this film, which is a real sequel. I mean, Rocky really gave us some people that we cared about, warm and human, colorful characters. We wanted to know what happened next. The first movie kind of stopped in midstream, and this one carries on from the exact moment. I really did enjoy it.
The thing on the sequels is, you know, we had Beyond the Poseidon Adventure a while back. That just repeated physical events. This film really repeats emotional events, and it's very fine. It's amazing. It is really the same film. There's the same running through the streets of Philadelphia, the same running up the stairs of the Philadelphia Museum. There's the same kind of music in the picture, and yet it all works. Even ends with a big fight.
The big fight. In my opinion, a better fight scene than the first film, as a matter of fact.
I don't know if I agree with you on that.
Certainly leaves you leaving the theater shaking your head, you know, with joy, really, and exhilaration. And we might as well say, as a matter of fact, that there is going to be a Rocky III, and you heard it here first. Apollo Creed retires. He becomes Rocky's trainer. Rocky decides to fight one more fight, and where do you think the fight is held? Only one place that's possible, right? The Roman Colosseum.
I'm looking forward to that. This is really, I think, a fairy tale for adults, and just like little kids like to hear the same old stories, this story could go on for a long time for me, too.
Well, I guess Rocky III is going to be the last one, but you were right, I think, to talk about the humor in the film, too. It's not just all serious punching and so forth. A lot of humor, and if offbeat humor is one of the endearing things about Rocky II, it's got to be the comic inspiration behind The In-Laws, which is the funniest comedy I've seen in a long time. The movie stars Alan Arkin and Peter Falk as the two would-be in-laws whose kids are going to get married, but first some very funny things happen to them on the way to the wedding. Arkin is a peaceful New York middle-class dentist, and Falk is an undercover agent who takes Arkin along on a mission to South America.
They're taking off without us! That's standard procedure. What? We gotta make a run for his car. We'll never make it. We'll never make it lying here, that's for damn sure. You ready? No. No, I'm ready. Serpentine! What? Serpentine! Serpentine! Jump!
Where the hell are the keys?
Are you kidding me?
Out of the car.
They must be in his pocket.
I'll get them.
No! I'll get him. I'd rather die running than be left here alone.
Chill! You don't know what you're saying.
I can't take it anymore. The idea of you out there dead and me all alone back here with the smoke and the bullets. I can't take it.
Are you serious?
I can't stay here.
Okay, but remember, Serpentine!
Absolutely.
What a guy.
Serpentine, okay. You're probably wondering why they're being shot at. Well, Peter Falk got himself involved in a CIA scheme to sell counterfeit money in South America. He took along poor Arkin, and suddenly they're involved in the middle of a civil war. One of the best things about the movie is the way, as you can see there, Arkin tenses up. He can't believe these incredible situations that Falk has led him into. For example, they encounter a totally crazy South American puppet dictator. And when I say he's a puppet dictator, I ought to add that he brings along his own puppet.
General, I'd like you to meet Dr. Sheldon Cornpelt. Sheldon has provided invaluable assistance to the success of this mission.
Dr. Cornpelt, please. Gentlemen, enter. Oh. Your nourish, my friend. This is Senor Pepe.
Hello.
Senor Pepe, do you like this man?
Oh, yes, very much.
Shall we invite this man to sit down?
Oh, yes.
Senor Pepe, would you like to give this man a kiss?
Oh, yes.
He's nice?
Very nice.
He's nice?
He's nice. you're very handsome.
All right. He's a raving fruitcake.
Don't underestimate him.
That was Richard Libertini as General Garcia in a performance of transcendent goofiness. But then the whole movie is the same way. The In-Laws has got to be the summer's funniest comedy.
Well, here we go.
What do you mean, here we go?
No, we both saw the same picture, obviously.
We did see the same picture.
Different reactions.
I liked it.
Yes, I
You didn't.
sat there and didn't laugh. I must admit, to be fair, there were a lot of people cracking up around me. There were a lot of people, though, around me who were not laughing, and I was one of them. And it's very hard to argue seriously about a comedy. It's an involuntary physical reaction, laughter. I can't argue you out of your laughs. I know that you thought that stuff is funny. For me, when he yelled serpentine, I thought it was like the third time was just too much. The hand puppet, I know it could be funny to somebody. Not
You didn't
to me.
like it when he gave little senior, what's his name, a drink? You didn't like that? You didn't find that funny?
No, at that point I didn't lose it. Pictures like this work well when the momentum builds. It obviously builds up
It built
for you.
for me. You're right. When you start thinking about a comedy, then the comedy is dead. Believe me, there are a couple of comedies on this show that we haven't got to yet that were occasions for very deep thought on my part. In this movie, it's irrational. You can't say, well, the performances are great or the dialogue was great or something. It's a funny movie. I mean, essentially, it's up to the folks at home to decide who has the better sense of humor, who's more reliable, Gene or myself.
I'm just going to keep laughing right now.
Okay.
Here comes a picture I think we're going to agree on. Back in 1973, Glenda Jackson co-starred with George Siskel in a very entertaining adult romantic comedy, A Touch of Class. Well, now they're both together again in another romantic comedy called Lost and Found. It's not a sequel, not a continuation of the same sophisticated story. This one is a truly stupid film. Jackson and Siskel play two previously married folks who bump into each other first in a traffic accident and then again in a skiing accident.
Ho, ho.
My reaction, too. There's no wit here, just low comedy as they dance together at a hospital. Wasn't that a scream? They both had casts on their legs. Hardy har har. This picture wastes Glenda Jackson, a very bright actress with a script that really isn't worthy of her. First of all, she has to decide whether or not to marry George Siskel and then whether or not to divorce him. Frankly, I couldn't see what she sees him in the first place. Siegel's character, a college professor, is pretty much of a drip. But the key point to be made here, Lost and Found, is a poor movie. It is not a sequel to A Touch of Class. Don't be duped into thinking that it is.
I won't be, Gene. I'll tell you what I really disliked about this movie. In any kind of a relationship between a man and a woman, whether it's going to be a straight love story or whether it's going to be a comedy like this allegedly was at one point in its far distant past intended to be, the people have to like each other in order for us to believe in their fights. Well, they really like each other, but they're fighting or something, right? This movie, the closest it comes to giving us any reason to believe they like each other is probably that dumb scene with the cast where they don't even have any dialogue, and then they're on a toboggan for 10 seconds, and that's supposed to be a 10-week love affair. The rest of the time, they fight. Or he goes off and gets drunk, or she decides to fly back to England. They are both thoroughly unpleasant people.
When you see a scene like that with that goes on so long, early in a picture, don't you have the reaction like I do? They're padding here. They don't have a story. They don't have real characters here.
They didn't have a script, but they said, George, Glenda, look at this great scene. You get to dance with Cass on it. Don't worry, we'll write the rest of the movie next week or something. Yeah. It's as if the movie was written before they even thought through who the characters were.
And I can't understand it. The same writer-director, Mel Frank, The same actors, why didn't they stay with two characters that we did like in A Touch of Class? This one's a mystery to me and a very bad film.
One thing that I should repeat, I suppose, a consumer point, if you liked Touch of Class, wait till Touch of Class comes back on television.
Right.
You know? Here's a movie that's a whole lot better. It's Clint Eastwood in Escape from Alcatraz, and it's a very tough, hard-edged, beautifully crafted thriller about a man who's sent to Alcatraz because, as the warden explains to him in this scene, nobody has ever escaped from the rock.
Burglary, armed robbery, grand larceny. You've escaped from quite a few prisons, haven't you? That's why you're here. Alcatraz was built to keep all the rotten eggs in one basket. And I was specially chosen to make sure that the stink from the basket does not escape. Since I've been warden, a few people have tried to escape. Most of them have been recaptured. Those that haven't have been killed or drowned in the bay. No one has ever escaped from Alcatraz. And no one ever will.
Well, if you're an Eastwood fan, you know what that last look means. It means nobody's going to keep him in the rock. He can't resist a challenge like that, and the movie totally absorbs us in the process of his escape attempt. It also paints a violent portrait of the daily routine of prison life, like in this scene in the Alcatraz exercise yard.
Wolf's coming at you.
Is he handcuffed?
Yes.
Which one?
He's right.
Like D-Block, Wolf? You better, because you're going to rot in there for a long time. D-Block, Morris.
He came at me.
I said D-Block.
You notice how perfectly directed that fight scene was? There wasn't a wasted shot. It was good, lean direction. Whole film is that way. When Eastwood gets out of solitary confinement, of course, he's really mad. The rest of the movie follows his total commitment to escape, but unfortunately, the preparations for the escape are a lot more interesting than the escape itself, which is kind of murky and hard to follow. Guess you could say that the last 20% of the movie is sort of disappointing, but the first 80% is really good filmmaking.
I'm with you exactly. It's no small objection. The film builds up beautifully to this escape. We're really rooting for him to escape and see how he does it. He's a bright, ingenious guy. The escape lasts maybe 7 to 10 minutes. It's not very exciting. I was disappointed.
But would you add this?
I wanted the film to go on for another half hour.
Would you add this proviso? The film is worth seeing, though.
Yes.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Directed by Don Siegel, who's a good Hollywood craftsman who helped to really mold Eastwood's image. He took Eastwood right out of the spaghetti westerns, more or less, and made Coogan's Bluff, Dirty Harry, two of the best pictures Eastwood has been in. I think that, with the exception of the ending, this is a film that I think I can recommend very highly.
I recommend it too.
Okay.
Okay, now we just reviewed Lost and Found, the film that reteams Glenda Jackson and George Siegel. Here's another reteaming, but here's one I think that works. Ryan O'Neal and Barbara Streisand, who were very popular together 7 years ago in What's Up, Doc? Well, they're together again in The Main Event, a romantic comedy set in the world of boxing. Sounds familiar? Streisand plays a perfume manufacturer who goes bankrupt and is left with one financial asset, which turns out to be a liability. It's plug fighter Ryan O'Neal, who broke his fist the last time out, and he doesn't want to fight anymore. But Streisand owns his contract, needs money, and she drags him kicking and screaming to a fight promoter.
Well, I think we can make a lot of money off this fight, Leo. I mean, everybody's looking for the great white hope, right? Well, the kid's not so great, and there's not much hope, but look what's left. Blonde, blue-eyed, I mean, good teeth. Semi-attractive. I think we can broaden our audience. I think we can bring more women into the fights. They'll all come, maybe even with their husbands. We'll shorten his shorts. I'll show more leg. Listen, I'm good at this, Leo. You gotta give me a chance. In the perfume business, I was an expert at making something out of nothing.
Mr. Goff, may I speak to my manager for a minute, please?
Be my guest if you think you can get a word in.
So, do you like it, Leo?
I think it has possibilities, Hillary. You two you're very cute together.
Hillary.
What?
Can I see you for a second?
What? What is it?
Get over here, Red.
So talk. I mean, I'm a little busy talking to Mr. Goff. Okay. Gee, you don't have to be so violent. Bully.
I don't know when, and I don't know where, but I'm going to get you.
Is that a threat?
What do you think I am? A piece of meat? One of your perfumes? You treat me like an object. What do you think I am, a girl? No, I am a person. I have feelings. I'm a man.
I know. Didn't you hear me call you a gladiator? Hey, kid, don't be so negative about yourself.
I'm not negative about me, just you.
You think I want to be tied to you for the rest of my life? We're going to make our money, and then you and me is up and out.
What?
Up and over.
You mean over and out?
Yeah, that one.
A lot of energy. After she gets the promoter to book a big fight, she forces Ryan O'Neal to go into training. The two of them become a tourist attraction, drawing visitors, reporters, and photographers.
And now, Suncoast Tours makes an unscheduled stop at Long Beach's newest attraction, Kid Natural's Training Camp.
And here, nestled in the ever-pumping machinery of the famous Long Beach oil fields, is the Knockout Driving Academy.
And the vivacious Hillary Kramer, who once packaged Lene perfume in Beverly Hills, is now packaging a boxer in Long Beach. And now,
how you doing, Hillary?
Good.
Hey, I thought I was getting my picture taken.
You are, with her.
Come on, kid. Don't take this so seriously. It's just press, promotion, you know what I mean? It's all part of it.
Why don't you do something that looks like fighting, but isn't?
Oh, the kid's real good at that. Put up your dukes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's...
Want to go a couple of rounds?
Looking for a short round?
Hey, this is fun. Now I know why you like it. I love this. It's real fun.
Oh, wait. No. Hey, it just was a tap. I hardly hit her. Come on, Hillary, stop kidding around.
Wait a minute, Hillary, that's great. Hold it.
She finally knows her place, on her back with her mouth shut.
Well, kid, he's not the only one in shape. Take a picture of this, kid, nauseous.
She looks good there. Both of the scenes, though, we took a look at, I think, run on a little too long, as does the main event. It has a very bad ending. It also contains some very funny scenes, though, featuring Streisand dominating Ryan O'Neal both in bed and in business. Barbra Streisand is possibly the most energetic performer working in the movies today. She's the main reason, I think, to see the main event.
If Barbra Streisand's the main reason to see the main event, I don't think that's a good enough reason.
You didn't like her, huh?
Of course I like her. I think she's great, but she's not great in this movie. And one of the things that's wrong is they've never thought the character through. It's almost as if they're going for a laugh at every moment without thinking that the story has to make sense from beginning to end to involve us in the characters. The beginning of the film, she runs the perfume company. She's a tycoon. She's a businesswoman. She's at the top of her business.
Yep.
Halfway through the film, it's like she had an off-screen lobotomy. She suddenly turns silly and stupid. It's almost sexist. Once she falls in love with a guy, it's just silly little Barbara, you know.
With one exception. There's a bed scene in a training camp where he's getting ready for the big fight, where she comes on real tough to him in bed. She wants to make love to him. He doesn't. She convinces him. Very amusing. She's that tough character in that moment.
Okay, so the scene before she's dumb, the scene after she's dumb, the end of the film, you mentioned it has a bad ending.
Yes,
Gene,
it does.
bad is not the word for this ending. Unforgivable is the word for this ending. We can't give it away. But I suppose, no, we won't give it away. What she does to him during his heavyweight fight at the end is so stupid that you leave the theater really feeling angry that your intelligence has been insulted.
Well,
even in a comedy, they ought to have a little more smarts than this.
You leave the theater, I think, listening to the credits, and there's a very specific reason you do. She sings her one song in the picture over the credits at the end. If you're going to see a musical, this isn't a musical. There's only that one song.
We could almost say, if you like to hear Streisand sing, go toward the end, hear the song. The problem with that is that the ending is so bad.
Well, Raj, we disagree, but not about this little critter. Spot the Wonder Dog. Thank you. Spot the Wonder Dog who picks the week's worst movies every week.
Listen, Spot, you really sniffed out a bad one this week. My dog is called In Praise of Older Women. Now, what do they mean by older women? It's a little ridiculous. This movie ought to be called in faint praise of girls in their mid-30s. The women in question just can't get enough of our hero, Tom Berenger, who makes his way from bed to bed as he immigrates from war-torn Hungary to sex-mad Canada. The film doesn't have the courage to be a hardcore porno film, nor does it have the wit to be a romantic comedy, so it just winds up as a monotonous sexual travelogue. The movie's supposed to be about how older women are wiser and more mature and more understanding than Tom Berenger is. But if the older women in this movie have any insights into the mysteries of the universe, they keep them to themselves, and, for that matter, why shouldn't they? In this movie, that's the only thing they keep to themselves.
You hated that picture, huh? Get a load of this one. My Dog is an action picture called Ravagers, one of the end-of-the-world films when the last man on Earth keeps running into new people. Following some sort of nuclear holocaust, Richard Harris stumbles through a deserted town, finds a blind man who gets hit in the head with rocks. Then he meets Ann Turkel, who chases Harris into the woods, where she tells him, "I've been following you since yesterday." Harris asks, "What the hell for?" Turkel says, "Why the hell do you think?" Then the last man on Earth meets more people. Art Carney is a nuclear engineer. And then, of course, the Ravagers, a ragtag mob. The more you destroy them, the larger their number. None of these characters is particularly interesting. Sort of makes you wish that Richard Harris really was the last man on Earth.
Spot, a great job of picking dogs this week, I'm telling you. But anyway, so much for the dogs. Now let's recap our comments on the main movies on this show. Gene and I are both very enthusiastic about Rocky II, and that's why there's a yes next to both of our names. We say yes, we recommend you see this PG-rated picture. We disagree, though, on the Alan Arkin, Peter Falk comedy, The In-Laws. Gene only enjoyed a couple of Falk scenes. I really loved it and voted an enthusiastic yes, so listen to me, folks.
Now, stop it already.
Okay. We both agree that Lost and Found with Glenda Jackson and George Siegel is worthless. Two big no's for that one. We cannot recommend that you even remotely come close to seeing it. Gene and I seem to have exactly the same opinion, though, on Clint Eastwood's Escape from Alcatraz. An exciting beginning and middle, but it's disappointing at the end. Still, it's a good thriller, and we give it 2 strong yeses. And another disagreement, this time on the Barbra Streisand picture, The Main Event. Gene enjoyed it and thinks Streisand is the reason to see it. I thought there was too much Streisand, too little else. I say no. Gene says yes.
Well, that's it for this week. Next time on Sneak Previews, we're going to review 5 more new films, including Moonraker, James Bond's big new adventure, Prophecy, about a strange ecological threat from the North Woods, Nightwing, about an attack of vampire bats, and Dracula with Frank Langella as the vampire bat. Until then, see you at the movies.
Funding for this program is provided by this station and by other public television stations.